Hello, loves. Welcome back to the podcast. It's Nina with Passion Squared. I hope you are feeling peaceful and grounded as you are listening to this. I'm so grateful you're here. Let's get into it. So, if you're an A-School member, you are familiar with this discussion as it's one we've had many times over the years, and most recently, the last several months, as the FTC has in the U.S. has considered banning non-compete agreements, non-compete clauses in the U.S. And yesterday, they finally passed a ruling that they are banned in the U.S., except for small exceptions for high-level senior executives. So what does this mean for the salon industry, and why am I even talking about this? Well, as with most things we talk about, it always comes back to brand. And I have never been a believer in non-competes. In fact, I believe that they are a terrible idea. And there's several reasons why, but let's hone in on just a couple. One is really looking at building trust, which is the foundation of healthy relationships. And to enter into a business relationship saying, I don't trust you, and this is going to end bad. And when it does, here are all the things that I want to control you over the several months or several years. It just goes against everything we know about leadership, everything we know about brand. And the truth is, we don't have control over people and their decisions. The thing is that people outgrow businesses. People change. People's circumstances change. People's desires change. People's goals change. People's vision of success changes. There are so many reasons why folks leave a salon that has actually nothing to do with the leadership. And then in many cases, it does have a lot to do with the leadership. So there is a perspective, a position, a philosophy that needs to be shifted to, we don't control people. However, what we do control is the environment we create to help folks grow, to help folks meet their goals, to help folks flourish, to help folks feel seen, safe, supported. That's what we do have control over. And that all stems from clarity of your brand story. We set clear expectations. We commit to and promise for clear communications. We talk about how we do things. We talk about what that looks and feels like. We talk about what our promises are, not only to clients, but to our team and to each other. We focus on career pathing and set a vision for folks so they can make decisions that are best for them, whether they choose to stay or not. So all of these things combined are the reason that we created a team handbook template several years ago for our clients. In fact, it is a big part of the Creating Your Awesome Brand course because it speaks to brand, it speaks to leadership, it speaks to healthy boundaries, all the things that are critical to build an awesome brand. So I wanted to take this week and just kind of walk through some of the things in the team handbook template that speak to building trust, that speak to clear communications, that speak to setting clear expectations, that speak to all the things that I recommend you focus on versus a non-compete. So the opening of our team handbook template speaks about the brand, your salon brand. And the purpose of that is storytelling is all about helping folks see themselves inside of a story. We can look at some of the greatest storytellers in the world. Most recently, who's on my mind this week, you know it's Taylor Swift. And if you look at the Tortured Poets department, it is literal poetry. And Taylor actually said herself, now that these words are written, this is your story now. This is your story now. And that's what storytelling is all about, is speaking to an audience of one with shared vision, with shared value, with shared experiences that hits us on an emotional level. So that's the first page. And as an example, I'll talk about Passion Squared. So for this example, for the team handbook template. So our purpose is to empower the people we love. That's you, helping you make good decisions for your brand and eliminating confusion and overwhelm. We promise that you will feel seen, heard, understood, and loved. We will be honest. We will be kind. We will practice healthy boundaries and work hard to build trust with you. So that's just an example. Very different than a typical employee handbook that we see in the business world. That's like no chewing gum or no phones on the floor. No, it's kind of like client agreements. It's the same type of thing. How your client agreements start is very similar to how we recommend starting a team handbook. This is what we value. So the next page, we are committed to cultivating a culture of trust. When we trust each other, we can honor and celebrate the awesome stuff and navigate the tough stuff in a healthy, loving way. Communication. Almost everything can be solved with healthy communication. And we believe in healthy boundaries and communication, etc. So then we go into kind of a little history of the company to help people understand the company better, what the experience looks and feels like. And so this is really important because so often when we look at people, especially leaders that get frustrated with team members that are maybe not consistently delivering an experience aligned with what the vision of the owner is, well, do they actually know what the experience looks and feels like? Have they been trained on that experience? How is it modeled? So we're clear. We spell it out. Our experience looks and feels like love. Okay, give me more. This can be seen and felt in the way we communicate, the eye contact we use, our dialogue, how we stay present for clients and each other. We listen with curiosity. We walk people to where they need to be. We answer questions promptly and respond to so you get the drift. So that's what the experience looks like. What are the agreements? We are committed to working on our insides as much as our outsides. We practice healthy boundaries in all communications and situations. So again, you may say, well, what does that look like? Well, we get to that in the handbook, because if we're saying healthy boundaries are a big part of our brand, then where is the training behind that? And usually the answer is there is none. So again, we're projecting what we believe healthy boundaries are and guessing that people that are working with us also see healthy boundaries the same way. We cannot assume. We can never assume. So whatever those promises are, whatever the agreements are, whatever your brand is, we have to train to that. We have to coach to that. We communicate to that. We hire to that. We fire to that. So here's a next page. What our agreements look like in action. We show up on time. We take care of our own energy. And when we need help, we ask for it. So again, just examples. So then we have non-negotiables, which again are aligned with your brand promise. So an example is we do not tolerate gossip. We do not tolerate racism, homophobia, transphobia, misgendering, misogyny, or gaslighting, etc. Right? Then we have required reading, which is required because it's part of the training. So again, that's connected to what those agreements are. Then we have our promise to you, the Salon's promise to you. We will practice what we preach. We will be open to your feedback without retaliation. We will create a safe space for you to grow. We will handle issues promptly. We will hold ourselves accountable to the agreements. So you see how we're building this trust between the leader, the salon owner, and the team. And then we are consistent with that. We're consistent with that. Then we get into coaching and training. This is how we train. It could be new team member training. It could be advanced technical training. It could be healthy boundary training. It could be racial equity training. It could be social media training. Whatever it is, whatever your brand encompasses, whatever that is, that's what you train. And then this is how we coach. We have monthly team gatherings. We do one-on-one, whatever your coaching and training system are. Then the next thing is career path. We are here to serve, grow, support, and love you. Here are the ways you can grow here. Let me see that. Let me see if I see myself in that. And again, remembering that circumstances change, people change, right? The only consistent thing in our world is change. So we have then systems, right? Here's our opening system, our closing system, how we greet, our beverage system, booking system, whatever your systems are, content creation system. This is how we exit. It's been a big discussion in A School over the years is exit interviews and how you end relationships. And it's no secret, the way relationships typically end in employment-based salons in our industry has not historically been the healthiest. And we all share responsibility in that, because if there's no clarity around how to leave, then I'm just going to bounce, right? If there is mistrust, then I'm going to keep it a secret. If the leader is not available and open to hearing feedback or not retaliating when someone decides it's time to move on, that creates mistrust. So that kind of circles all the way back to that non-compete. The most awesome thing we can do for people is allow them to find their joy, to find their rhythm. And if it's not in our salon, so be it. Let's celebrate them. Now, remember, we're not in black and white absolute thinking. So I know some of you right now are like, well, you have no idea what happened. This stylist was super shady and they handled things terribly. Yeah, it happens. It happens. It happens. It absolutely happens. And it's going to continue to happen. And you have no control over that. What you do have control over is your brand story and how that relates to your culture and how that relates to your team handbook and how that relates to how you show up as a leader and how that relates to how you coach and how you train and all of that. Sometimes people don't have the language, they don't have the skills, they don't have the self-awareness, they don't have the emotional maturity to have difficult conversations. And that's where compassion and grace come in. And remembering that we only have control over how we show up. We only have control over how we react, how we respond. And we don't have control over others. We will do our best. We'll do our best. And that's all we can do. So I think this non-compete ruling was an excellent idea because it really speaks to the fact that we don't have control over other people. And the majority of people don't set out to do shitty things to businesses. The majority of people just decide, for all the reasons we talked about, that it's time to move on and to put them in a position to not be able to move on and not be able to earn a living in their area, in this case, salon, whether they decide to go to a salon suite or decide to go lease in a lease-based salon or decide to go to another employment-based salon. Let's just celebrate that. Let's celebrate that. And that's the energy. That's the energy that creates healthy cultures, that creates healthy energy, that creates deeper connection, and that builds trust. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. You can find Passion Squared on the socials at Passion Squared. You can always email us at awesome@passionsquared.net. And if you have ever thought about wanting to get clarity around your brand, if you are exhausted and overwhelmed by the confusion, the chaos, the frustration, the time suck, the anxiety, all the things that folks experience working with other people, or just not having clarity and really struggling with decision making and taking action on things, the Creating Your Awesome Brand course, I made this for our industry because it doesn't exist. Brand fundamentals do not exist, and they need to exist because your brand is the foundation for every decision you make, including designing your team handbook template. And how you lead and how you coach and how you train and how you create systems and all of the things. It always starts with brand. And the course walks you through every single one of those elements. You are deserving and worthy of more clarity and more confidence and more courage. And, more joy always. So that's the message for this week. I would love to hear from you, what your thoughts are on this, what experiences you've had. I love connecting with you. I love hearing from you. And so thank you so much for listening. I'm so grateful you're here. Have a peaceful day. Bye.